Let's talk about Christmas in 40k. As much as we can, at least. There really isn't that much to go off of. But I wanted an excuse to show off this lovely Warhammer Christmas jumper I got from Warhammer World, and this is that excuse. So, grab a mug of hot chocolate and gather round the fire as we have a little chat about the festive season in the 41st Millennium. This mug is empty. I had my hot chocolate before I started, but it works as a prop. Before we get into the video, I do just want to say a quick thank you to my channel members, Vort, Cersei, Victory Kaiser and Kraydog, for supporting me, as well as ask you, if you haven't already, to like the video, subscribe, and maybe leave a comment. It really does help smaller channels like mine more than you probably realise. Anyway, on with the video. So, to start off with the closest analogue to Christmas I could find, we have the Feast of the Emperor's Ascension. Just as Christmas celebrates the birth of Jesus, the most common festival in the Imperium celebrates the moment when the Emperor was interred upon the Golden Throne, and ascended to true divinity. On many worlds, the celebrations take the form of a week-long series of feasts, games and spectacles to honour the Emperor. Often, sacrifices are made in his name, such as the burning of books to offer him knowledge. And apparently people shag like rabbits around this time, as it is an auspicious time to marry or conceive children. During this period, it is also said that no false judgments can be made, making it impossible to overturn a ruling made during this time, which sounds rather easy to exploit. And while most worlds celebrate with feasts and festivals, many worlds, especially the more primitive of the ones in the Imperium, use the period to celebrate the more martial traits of Big E. Thus, on these worlds, the Ascension becomes a time when men and women fight and die in an effort to please the Emperor, each trying to outdo the courage and skill of the others to earn a place at his side. While the Emperor's Ascension does sound very Christmas-inspired, other than the battles to the death, like almost all of the Imperium's holidays, we haven't actually been given a concrete date for it. The one exception to this, at least as far as I can tell, is Candelmus. Candelmus seems to be more in line with the traditional holiday of Christmas and welcoming of the new year than the modern idea of a day themed around gifts, but it sounds pretty cosy from what little we know of it. And I mean little, it doesn't even have a lexicanum page. Pretty much the only mention of it that I managed to dredge up is this extract from Malleus by Dan Abnett. We had stayed on Kincaid for 3 months. Too long, in my opinion, but there had been no way to speed the preparatory work. We celebrated Candlemas in the little chapel of the Ministorum off the plaza, lighting candles to welcome the new imperial year, and lighting others to commemorate the town's dead. Amos and Bequin read the lessons, for all of the ecclesiarchs were amongst the remembered dead. Beor and his tech adepts worshipped with us, and he hovered to the choir rail under the great statue of the God Emperor to lead us in the devotional prayers. Everyone's favourite hawk boy, the Primarch Sanguinius is pretty much the 40k equivalent of Jesus, so it makes sense that the holiday themed around him would come up in the Christmas special. A commemoration of Sanga's sacrifice, Sanguinala is often brought up as the 40k Christmas. And though we know it happens at some point in December, and the name is a pretty clear reference to Saturnalia, which itself was a pretty major influence on the Christian formation of Christmas, to me it feels a lot more like Easter than Christmas, both in what it celebrates and how they celebrate. Unfortunately, Sangi won't be resurrecting anytime soon. So, we have 3 potential equivalents for the Christmas period, but what would Christmas be without Santa? As most supernatural entities in 40k have some basis in the warp, and as the warp functions on collective belief, it is certainly plausible that somewhere around our modern day in the 40k timeline gave rise to a minor warp creature who actually functioned as Santa Claus, though he was probably consumed by more powerful warp creatures as the Immaterian grew more chaotic, for lack of a better term. And if he wasn't, then the Inquisition definitely set the Grey Knights on him millennia ago. As for something that actually still exists in the 41st Millennium, the Red Gobbo has become a tongue-in-cheek reference to Santa Claus, getting a different festive-themed mini every year since 2019, when he looked like this. As well as gifts, the Red Gobbo brings chaos and rebellion as the head of the Gretchen Revolutionary Committee, leading the Grots in their efforts to overthrow the oppression of the Orcs. How very Christmassy. In truth, there isn't one single Red Gobbo, and the position rotates between members of the GRC following either an election or simple selection by the current Red Gobbo. If, for any reason, more than one Red Gobbo appears, then the Great Squig Race is used to determine who the real revolutionary leader should be. So that was everything I managed to drag up about the Christmas period in 40k. There really isn't as much as I was expecting when I began researching, but I think there are enough fun little festive details to justify a little bonus video. If you've made it this far in that video, thank you so much, it really does mean a lot. Like, subscribe, all the rest, Merry Christmas, and I'll see you all in the next video.